Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Evolve with Emily show. I am your host, Emily Hayden, and you guys know that I am all about female empowerment and helping women especially become more aware of their surroundings, aware of the reality of the world that we live in, and also capable and equipped and ready for any situation that may come their way. I have gone on my own personal journey of learning how to become more situationally aware, more equipped when it comes to basic firearms handling and fighting, jiu-jitsu, different things like that. And it's my goal that with sharing some of the things that I'm doing to inspire you guys to take matters into your own hands, take responsibility for your own personal protection so that you can be out there and be the one that is not making yourself an easy target, that you're actually making yourself hard to kill. You're making yourself not a victim. So it's always my goal to share those things with you guys. And today I'm really excited for today's guest. I had an incredible conversation with one of my friends who I've known for almost a decade now. His name is Tony Sentmanat. He is the founder of Warrior Alliance NFT. He's a first Phorm athlete. That's how we initially connected. He's with Monster Energy. He's a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, retired SWAT, a gym owner of KO Zone USA, which is an incredible gym that I have gone to and trained at. They have boxing, Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, MMA, Taekwondo. There's a full gym for strength and conditioning. It is on 54th Street in Miami Beach, Florida. So definitely check it out if you guys are ever in Miami. He has just done so much in his life. If you guys play Call of Duty, you may also recognize him. He's the Lurch character, I believe is his name. Hopefully I'm not messing that up. He's really just incredible. He actually has over 1 million followers on Instagram. He recently started his TikTok and is already blowing up on there as well. He has a YouTube. You guys can find him pretty much anywhere. Just Google him and you will find everything on him. But he's literally created his life, his lifestyle, his business around tactical things, right? So it's real world tactical. I actually went and did one of his courses, which was a survivor's course. And it was really cool because we were able to go through different just simulations and different situations where we would be put in a scenario, and in that scenario, we'd be under a lot of pressure and stress, yet it was a safe scenario to expose to us what is inside of us and what would really come out of us in those moments. And we'll talk about that in the episode, but I did want to start this episode with a little bit of a story time because in today's episode, we talk you through different situations that are pretty common in today's world. And one of those situations was, okay, what do you do when you're walking to your car at night? What do you do when you're at a gas station? And it's very interesting to me because after having that conversation, then I found myself at about 11:30 p.m. that night and my gas tank was empty. And I just completely forgot that my gas tank was empty. And I had to go home and I realized I wasn't going to go home. So I really didn't have an option. I had to stop for gas. And I am, at this point, I consider myself very aware. I always look at everything. I'm always paying attention. I do my best to be situationally aware. However, after literally just having Tony here in the studio and talking it through with him, I was definitely hyper aware and hyper focused, more so than normal. And so I pull into the gas station and I immediately kind of scan the gas station and I choose the pump that is nearest the exit. So if I needed to exit quickly, I could do that. Okay, no problem. I get out of my car, I start pumping my gas. And as I get out of my car, I lock the doors so that no one can go in the passenger side of the door and be there or take my belongings. So I lock the door, have the keys with me. I scan the gas station. I see all who's there. There's 3 other cars there. There's 2 cars across the way, or I'm sorry, 2 people in 1 car across the way. 1 guy went inside the store. 1 guy stayed outside to pump the gas. So I'm really recognizing everything. I look and everything's good. The situation, it has been assessed and we're good. Just pumping my gas. And I even had the thought to myself, I was like, I don't really need to sit here and fill up my gas all the way. But I've assessed the situation. Everything looks good. I'm halfway full. I'm just going to fill my tank all the way and then I'm going to go home. And as I'm sitting there and the gas tank is almost full, this new car comes inside of the gas station and it's a beat up car with blacked out windows and it's blasting rap. And it kind of comes like quickly through the gas station and makes a big circle around my car and then goes up to the store. And immediately I just had this feeling. I was like, I don't need to be around to see what's going on in that car. Like, I need to be done here, you know? So I put the gas tank up. It had just finished actually as they were driving in, and I was witnessing all of this. So I put my gas tank back in, and I have I would say not a hurry, not a rushed spirit about me, but just a very intentional, like, okay, it's time for me to leave feeling inside. And so I put the gas tank up, and I have my keys in my hand, and I do my best not to look down or not to look at my car, but to scan as I'm walking to grab my car. And as I put my hand on the handle of the car and I scan at the same time, one of the guys that was inside of that car has his pants. He was wearing his pants almost down to his knees. I didn't even know people still did that these days. And he's beelining it straight for me. And I get inside the car, I lock the door, and it was really just like it was a process for me. There was no like anxiety, no crazy fear. It was just, okay, I'm inside, lock, press the button while I have my foot on the brake so that the car will turn on, and let's put it in drive. And as I'm doing those things, it's like all happening very quickly. I put it in drive, and now he's at least or maximum 3 feet from my window, like had come all the way up to me and gestures as if like, open your window, open your car. And I just go, nope. And I like zoom right off, and I leave. And there was definitely, my heart rate increased a little bit during that moment, but there was no anxiety. There was really no fear. It was just a process, and I was executing that process. And I believe that it's just because I was very aware. I was aware from before I even started pumping my gas, but I really thought about it, and I was like, man, what if I was just sitting there on my phone scrolling? Because I could have easily been doing that. I would not have noticed anything. And now, instead of getting myself out of a potentially bad situation, I would have been face-to-face in contact with that person. I did have a very large knife on me. It's actually Tony's knife, which I linked it in my Instagram stories. It's also linked in this podcast. If you guys want to check it out, it'll be linked below. I used his code, so I'll put his code down there if you guys want a discount for it. You don't need that specific knife, but it is a great knife. He did a phenomenal job, and I felt very safe with it next to me. So just make sure, girls, women, even men, I feel that everybody should have something on them. And here's the thing. Maybe that guy needed directions at 11:30 p.m. from the only female at the gas station that was furthest away from his car, right? Sure, that's a possibility. I'm willing to level with you, you know, but there's so many other people there. There was multiple other cars there he could have gone to that were very close to him. There was other guys he could have gone to. Why did he come from me, and why did he beeline it to my window? I wasn't waiting around to find out, right? I don't really know, but my feelings told me enough that my feelings told me from the get-go, time to get out of this situation. So I just wanted to share that story with you guys, because I don't think it's an accident that me and Tony were sitting here talking about this. And then that very night, I literally experienced something that we walked you guys through. And I don't think it's an accident that you're listening to this podcast. I think that maybe there's something here that you need to pay attention to, that you can pick up on, that can raise your situational awareness and just get you out of potentially a bad situation. You know, that's always the goal, is to always avoid any sort of conflict like this or situation like this. So I hope that my story and Tony's tips and everything that he's going to share is something that will help you guys just kind of start your journey of becoming more aware and taking your own personal safety into your own hands. I highly recommend that you guys take some sort of self-defense, safety, firearms, fighting course where they help teach you these things. Because I did have someone write in and they said, my anxiety has always kept me super head on a swivel and looking at everything, and I'm always so just really anxious about it. And I kind of shared, I was like, I would really encourage you to take a class, because I feel no anxiety. I don't feel paranoid. I don't feel any of that. I actually just feel pretty confident and pretty sure about things. And I just think that you taking a course, you equipping yourself, you training yourself could help to alleviate fear, alleviate anxiety, alleviate any paranoia, because it turns from that into confidence, a process, and you simply executing the steps that you know you need to take. You know, had I not had training I've had or exposure that I've had to certain things, maybe I would have like freaked out at someone coming to me. And instead I didn't. I was just like, I'm going to lock these doors. I'm going to turn the car on and I'm leaving. It was that simple for me. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I feel that it's important to share these stories so that you guys realize that it does happen, and it's important for you to just be aware of your surroundings at all times. We live in a crazy world, especially right now, and always be armed with something. We get more into that into today's episode. So let's go ahead and say hi to today's guest. Today's guest is the one and only Tony Real World Tactical. That's the crowd. Man, a decade.
Finally.
A decade of friendship. And this is your first time on my podcast?
It's your fault. It's your fault.
How is that my fault?
I don't know. I just felt like saying that it was your fault.
Everything
Probably most
fault.
likely my fault. Yeah. Usually everything ends up being my fault. Yes, we're both very busy.
What a good man.
We're both super busy, but I came today, and that's what matters.
Yes.
Better late than never.
Yes. So what people may or may not know is we were actually at the old school Phorm HQ. The first time that we both visited was at the same time, and that's where we actually met. I'm going to find a photo on my Facebook, and post it for the YouTube video. So everyone watching on the YouTube video, this is old school Emily and Tony, little babies.
I know.
What were your first thoughts walking through Phorm HQ and getting to meet Andy and Sal and all the guys at HQ, Aaron, Cody? What were your first thoughts when you finally met them?
Honestly, I thought Sal was a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, because he was just talking a big game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, this is going to be a $1 billion company in 5 years. And I'm just like, oh my God, here we go.
Yeah.
All right, sure, buddy. Of course. And then as he keeps talking and talking and talking, it's like he almost makes a believer out of you. You know what I mean? By the end of that,
a believer.
Yeah, he's really good. At talking, and everything he was saying was very genuine. Mm-hmm. And me and Sal to this day are very, very good friends. I sit there and I listen to his spiel that day, and at the end of it, I believed that the company was going to be $1 billion company in 5 years, and they ended up doing it. So
that's crazy that you say that, because I'm listening to you, in your experience of he's giving this spiel. And when I heard what they said, I just believed.
Really?
Yeah. I just I felt that they were genuine. And hello, I'm right. I was right. My intuition was correct. No, I was not wearing rose-colored glasses. My intuition was correct. Let's not talk about
that on this podcast, Em.
Okay. Yeah, let's stay focused, please.
Let's stay focused.
So, yeah, it's pretty dope that we've both been with Phorm for almost a decade now. And they've, just expanded so much with the new HQ.
I mean, with the old HQ, it was 7 people, 10 people max, Now they have 200.
We all got into that same room where they had the whiteboard, and they do the little Legionnaire trainings throughout there.
Yep.
It's pretty wild to see what a company can do when they get everybody aligned with the same mission. And I think honestly,
Phorm revolutionized how to market a supplement company. Is what they pretty much did, and why they were able to be as successful as they are with the Legionnaire program. And they were able to build a community, which I don't think any other company has been able to do. I don't think any other company has a community like Phorm. Where they're very hardcore followers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when I think of Phorm, I don't think of supplements. I actually just think of the brand Phorm. The
lifestyle. What they preach and what they push, and being who you are, right? Trying to better yourself, right? In any which way you can, however it is. It's not only just about having a 6-pack or whatever. And it became from a supplement company to a lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
And they were able to put it together.
And one thing I see them do really well is they set the standard and then they hold the standard. And that says a lot when you have a lot of employees. I got to sit in on one of the Monday meetings on one of the recent athlete weekends. I stayed a little longer, and I go in there, and the way that they run their meetings and how they are training and equipping and leading all of these people that are new and coming in to really have other people hold and set that standard. And they all have accountability partners. They have these weekly goals that they all have to hit. They have high standards there. You will not survive if you were weak-minded.
No, absolutely not. They have every day. They have a workout in the morning. They have a ton of stuff that you have to be a part of.
It's a lot.
So, it's a culture. It becomes a lifestyle and a culture. At that point, it's not just a regular job anymore. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It becomes your life.
It's pretty cool too, because even us just being athletes, you know, we're athletes, they have athletes all over the world at this point. And it's like, we've been able to connect and make friendships that have been lifelong. Like now we've spent almost a decade of our lives with these people, which is pretty rare, I think, in the industry.
We've, you know, I consider ourselves like the OGs, you know what I'm saying? Where we've also lasted a lot of other people that aren't part of the company anymore, you know?
Yeah.
People, you know, and that happens to every single company where people come and go. You know, it's just how it is. It doesn't align with what your path is, and then you got to decipher your own and what's better for you. But we're like the original me, you, Marissa, Ty, you know, Mike, you know. To me, like, we're like a family compared to like maybe the newer people that have come on, right? I guess because we've been together for such a long time. You know what I mean? So I see the people that I mentioned a little differently. They're more like, for me, they're close. I'm closer to them. Yeah. Because we've been through the ups and downs and through what the company's been through and all these different things. And, you know, I'm a very old school type of guy where it takes me a little time to like open up to people. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's being able to still call these people friends after a decade, almost a decade. You know, it's
and I think it'll be fun to see the next decade who sticks around from the new group, because then we'll have, I think, those same connections and friendships with
100%,
the people that stick around. So
let's see who, you know, who's going to make it in the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Who makes the next cut?
Who makes the next cut?
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Yeah. Wait, listen, it's like there's people come and go, and some people stay for a year, some people stay for 6 months, 2 years, you know, and I don't think, honestly, I don't think we've met anybody that's been like shitty.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody's been cool, you know what I mean? You can tell when some people are just, we could say that like first form material. You know what I'm saying?
You said that like a mean girl. You're not first form material.
For real? I don't know how to say it. It's not really first form material. It's more like
it's
your values, right? Your values don't align with what first form standards and values are, right?
Yeah.
You know, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to be loyal to the brand, you know, and some people just aren't like that. They don't function that. Like, to them, the brand is just a brand, and you know.
I would say, in a really easy way to understand it, it's almost like we're a family mentality, like a brother, sister, sibling mentality. And if you're an only child mentality, you will not last.
No, absolutely. No, you have to be loyal, you know, and that's the key there. Be loyal to the brand and be loyal to the athletes around you. And you have to be, that's something really big in first form, is you have to be a team player.
Yeah.
You have to be a team player. You cannot be, if you're a loner or if you're only worried about yourself and you don't worry about anybody else, you're going to be weeded out. Like, you're probably not going to last.
It'll just be uncomfortable.
It's going to be, people are just going to notice, and you're going to feel weird, you know, because that's just how you feel. Like, you're selfish, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, you can't be selfish. You have to be like willing to be in the dirt with everybody else.
Yeah.
And there's some people that just aren't willing to do that.
Oh, I agree. And I think one thing that First Form does really well is when you get in a room of people that all hold themselves to a certain level of excellence and that standard, it makes you level up every single time. I feel like every time we have an athlete weekend, I'm like, yo, what's going on in your life? You're like, yeah, I started this business and, you know, making these moves and doing this and that. And it's like, damn, you go back and you have a little moment in the mirror and you're like, all right, I got to get on my shit.
100%.
You know, it's really motivating. And what I love is that even after like almost a decade, that motivation's not gone. Every time I have a weekend, I'm like, okay, like it just reignites that fire.
I mean, and also, you know, because I've known you for so long, you're just, that's just embedded in you. You're just a very ambitious person. Very, you know, you're a go-getter. You know what I mean? There's people in this life that are hustlers, and there's people that are just complacent, that are just happy or just content being who they are, having a 9-to-5 or just doing their regular job, right? You're not one of those people. Yeah. Like, I'm not one of those people, right?
Yeah.
I was like that for a long time when I was a police officer. Yeah. When I was a police officer, I was a lot of people that are shift workers, meaning like nurses, firefighters, police officers, you know, those type of people that are shift work, that you have the ability to work overtime or you have the ability to work off duties where you can make extra money when given that opportunity. You become very complacent, and you don't realize that that is the worst thing you can possibly do.
Why?
Because at that point, it's like a rat race. You're sacrificing time and your life to make more money to be in the same amount of debt, right? So if you're making $50,000 a year or 60 or whatever, so some cops make up to $100,000 a year, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, whatever, because of all the stuff they take away, all this, and you're like, well, I want to go on this trip, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. Let me work this off duty twice a week.
Oh, right.
That off duty is 4 hours each day, or whatever. So you're adding an extra 8 hours that you're working. You're making $200 or $300. Let's say you make $300 each off duty, right? So you're not adding $600 to your monthly income. Okay, those $600 after about a month or two that you have it, your life, your cost of living is here, right? As a cop, this is your base salary. When you get that off duty and you're used to working overtime, you're gonna get your cost of living, your life, to here.
Why?
Because naturally, you start depending on those $600, and you start putting those $600 to do something.
I see. Yeah.
You add them to a bill. You go to use it on the credit card. You do this, you do that, right? And then, oh man, shoot, I'm back to the same thing. You know what? Let me work overtime. Let me get that overtime. Bam. And you make an extra $300 or $400, and then it's like, all right. Then you buy a boat.
I see. Yeah. You
So
buy a boat. Did you buy a boat?
I never bought a boat.
Oh, okay.
But I could tell you how many police officers and firefighters I did.
Right. I
You know what I'm saying? They buy another house in the Keys, or they do this, or they did that with that money, right? And then you're buying stuff, or you're living to the expectancy that you're working with the off duty, with the this and with that and all these things. So then when that's taken away from you, you're struggling.
Yeah.
Right. And what happens in that type of mentality with saying, I have this job, I work this many hours and I make this much money, but if I work this many hours, I can make this much money. Let me live at that, at those means. You're literally like cutting your own throat, and you're complacent about it. You're like, oh man, I'll just work OT. Oh man, I'll just get another off duty, and I'll do that for that, and I'll do that for that. You don't realize it. Instead of saying to yourself, well, instead of doing that, let me start a business doing this, so that I can make this money, and it can be an income that I'm gonna make every single week or every single month, and then adjust from there. Not on an off duty or OT or this or that, because that's not guaranteed. None of that is guaranteed. That's taken from you and it's gone.
Yeah, and I feel like that it's like an never-ending trap.
100%. That's exactly what it is. It's a never-ending trap, because that 9 to 5 is that rat race that guilts you and it kills you, and you get complacent. And most people, the truth is I want to say maybe 60 to 70% of people aren't happy.
Damn.
They're not. They're not happy because they're struggling to pay their bills, because they're living a mediocre life. You know what I mean?
How many years were you were Miami PD?
Yeah.
How many years?
I was not Miami.
SWAT?
I was SWAT. I did 15 years as a cop.
15.
Yeah.
Damn. And
Law enforcement.
How did you finally make that shift to leave? And was it because you were in the fitness industry and building your business?
It actually started tactical training. Like I say this to people all the time. I was like, I've always wanted to own my own business. So I spent different monies over the years on trying to start something on my own. It's just very hard as a cop. I was working 80-hour work weeks. You know what I mean? As SWAT, I was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And my buddy told me, he's like, look, man, why don't you teach firearms on the weekends? You have the weekends off. Teach and just throw classes. You have the experience. You know, you're a good instructor. You've been doing it for 20 years, whatever. So I'm like, all right, why not? You know? So I started part-time, and then I would do it part-time while I was still working. And next thing I know, I was making more money in the business than a cop, you know? And the biggest, hardest thing is, and this is going to be what everyone's going to tell you. Oh, you've been doing this for this many years. You already have your pension. You can't leave the pension. You can't leave the pension. But is the pension worth your happiness? Is it?
I feel like because there's different kinds of people, right? Like you mentioned, the ambitious people, right? For them, absolutely not. But for the people that don't have that ambition, that drive, I feel like they would sacrifice their momentary happiness to be comfortable.
And that's 90%.
Yeah.
No, probably 98%.
98?
Probably.
Damn.
Yeah, because the truth is that we're like 1 or 2% of people that dream and actually put their dreams to work.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of people do this.
That's true.
Nobody actually takes action, right? So that's the hardest part. And that's actually the scariest part because you're scared of failure.
Yeah, but I feel like for people like us, it's like the thrill of the fear of failure that gets us like into overdrive.
Yeah, but see, it's different for you because your sense of business outweighs that fear. and your sense of ambition outweighs that fear. But when you're comfortable and you in your head, you're saying, I have a paycheck. I've had a paycheck for the last 10 years or whatever. And I have a pension. I have insurance, medical insurance. I have dental. I have all these different things. That all builds a huge amount of complacency in your brain and comfort. You're literally comfortable. You're living a good life. You're not living a terrible life. Can you be living a better life? Yeah, you can. So
and
you're
a more fulfilling life.
100% more fulfilling, more, and the fear of losing health insurance, dental, and all those things is what's stopping you from actually being like, you know what? I want to start this and I have to put this much money in. What if it fails?
Yeah.
I'm going to be considered a failure. But
as a business owner, how many times have you experienced failure? And what would you say to the people that are so scared of failing if they go for it?
Oh, man, I've definitely failed more than I've succeeded. I can tell you that. I mean, failure is honestly part of the journey, right? And it's kind of cliche because everybody says that, right?
Cliches are so being true though. The more life you live, the more you're like, it's cliche for a reason, but it's true.
Yes, it is. And failure to me, when I fail, obviously monetary sucks.
Yeah.
When you fail and you lose 20 grand or you lose 50 grand, and then it hurts. You know what I mean? But that is something that you're gonna take forever, right? And then when you fail and fail and fail and fail, and then finally after failing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and you finally win, and you take that W, and you're like, I did it. It's gonna feel that much better because you had 10 failures compared to somebody would have just given it to you.
That's so true. In such a very small way compared to like business or something. I got to experience that just going for like my pro card, right? I did 14 shows, 7 national shows. And when I finally won it, it felt so much better than if I had just gotten it on that first try. So and
then nobody can ever take that experience away from you.
Yeah.
And then when somebody goes up there and they're telling you about their struggles, about becoming a pro, you're going to have a story for them.
Yeah, that's true.
Why are you complaining? Why are you bitching to me? I did 14 shows.
And also it builds something else in you, right? I've had friends that they go pro the second or third show, which really rarely happens. But the problem with that is that now they're in the professional league and all of a sudden they go and get last call out, or they go and get second call out, or they go and get even like 8th place, which is not bad in the professional division. But for them, it feels like the end of the world. So it's like if you have that hard climb to the top, you have a different kind of character.
100%. You get what I call gator skin.
Yeah, gator skin. Nice.
You know what I'm saying? So it's
very
like
Florida of you.
Yeah, it's because it's thick skin. Because at that point, you're so used to failing. You're used to getting that 8th, 10th, 12th place all over and over and over again. If you get it when you get up there, it's like, all right, it's like climbing to the top again.
Right.
No big deal.
Right. The work is not a big deal anymore.
No, it's not, because you've already been through all that work.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, now I'm in the pros now, baby. I'm in the big leagues. So now it's like, okay, we're going to climb that mountain all up again. The people that didn't have to work for it, they're just like, it's like catching a bat to the face.
Yeah.
So
true.
It's work has never been an issue with me. Like I've never been afraid of work. I will work. I will do whatever needs to be done. And that's never been an issue. Failure, in my brain, I don't look at failure the same that a lot of people look at failure. I fail and I'm like, okay, next. Okay, next. Obviously financially is worse, right? So if you fail in fitness or you fail in training or whatever, it's one thing. So as a SWAT officer, right, you can't fail. Because when you fail, somebody's life could be taken. So that mentality, right, where it's like saying, I can't make a mistake here. It has to be perfect. I come with that mentality from being a police officer.
Damn.
Where I have to be sharp. I have to be on top of my game. I have to be, you know what I mean? So you do all these different things. We prepare. You prepare. I prepare. You set yourself aligned and you say, all right, I'm going to do this. However, I got to get this perfect. But sometimes you work all that, you do it, and bam, you still fail.
That sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah.
But you got to say to yourself, all right, well, I know that was a mistake that I made this time. Let's go another round.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make that mistake, and let's see what happens in the next one.
Yeah.
That's it.
I feel like at a certain point, you just have to accept that failure is a part of every single thing that you do in every area of life and just say the fear is going to be there anyways. The only other option is staying where you're at and not taking any steps forward.
100%. That's worse, because at the end of the day, you become a certain age, 50, 60, 70 years old, and then you realize where you are, and that being there and saying, man, I regret not doing this when I should have done this, or I regret this, or man, I should have done this or that. That's worse. I'm more scared of that than where I'm at now and failing because I tried. At least when I get to that age, I can say, yo, I tried, bro.
Yeah, no kidding.
At least I tried. And I didn't get it. Well, you know what? But I tried. You could be the guy that sits there and is like, I wish I would have tried. And that's worse.
Yeah.
Because you're never going to know what your potential would have been if you would have tried. So that's what kills you. You know, and that, I think I'm more fearful of that than anything.
100%. That's one thing that drives my everyday drive is I want to reach my highest potential. I'm fully aware that I'll never actually reach it.
You won't.
But that's the thrill and the chase of like where can I get? And if like life is good now, it's not that I'm unsatisfied, but I feel like if we still have life to live, if we're the lucky few that are still alive on this earth, because we have a lot of friends and people that aren't here anymore, then it's like our responsibility. It's our opportunity to get to be the highest version of ourselves, you know, doing it for ourselves and also for the people that aren't here. You know, if they were here, they would want to pursue and to be the best that they could be. So I feel like we have to do that.
There's, you know, with people that are hustlers or people that are very ambitious, it's almost like a double-edged sword, right? It's good and bad.
Yeah, true.
You know, and I tell a lot of people, I was like, you have to understand that you want to become the monster, what everybody talks about. You know what I'm saying? You want to be that monster. You want to be the dragon. You want to be the one that, you know, you reach to that level, you know, and in your brain, you know, you try to get there and you work your fucking ass off all the time to get there. And you work and you work and you work. And then you're going to get there, right? Let's say it'll take you 5 years, 10 years or whatever. You're going to sit on that throne and everyone around you is going to be looking at you as what we could consider like the monster, like top guy or whatever it is that you decided that you wanted to work your ass off for. But you are never going to see yourself as that. Because it's just never going to be good enough. Because you're going to get there and you're going to have other aspirations. So when you become a monster, you're going to say, well, I'm a monster right now, but I want to become Godzilla.
Right. Yeah, the goalpost always changes.
100%.
So I think where I've found some balance, if you will, in all of this and in pursuing my highest potential is just learning that like I have to love the process and love the journey. Like my goal is to be happy and fulfilled and satisfied today. And I actually do get a lot of fulfillment and satisfaction out of something like hitting a hard training session and learning that next technique and learning that next thing, right? So I'm obsessed with enjoying the process and the journey along the way there. I've really removed the like goalpost line and said, okay, my present is my goalpost. So all my actions of today, I know where they lead. They lead to a better me, a more fulfilled me. And that's kind of where I've found, you know, to kind of take the eyesight off of this vision, because as soon as you get to that vision that you were envisioning for yourself, like you mentioned, like you literally just create a new one. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's the key, is to just try to be as present as possible, right? Try to enjoy the journey and try to understand that every step that you take is just as important as the last step.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to switch gears a little bit. We have a lot of female listeners. We have males and females, but a lot of females. And I wanted to know from you, as someone who was an officer, you have a very wide, extensive experience in all sorts of training and firearms and MMA and jiu-jitsu and all sorts of stuff. Why do you feel that it is important for women themselves to be empowered and also to have skills and knowledge when it comes to firearms or fighting or self-protection?
I don't believe in the victim mentality. So I don't believe anybody should be victim, right? So it should be a victim. You should always prepare yourself to become more, so you can, I could just say, the best way to say this is so you can survive any attack or survive any traumatic event, survive anything, right? By the only way that you do that is by, you know, training yourself mentally, physically, and learning all the different elements in how to defend yourself, right? Or to survive whatever comes your way. Now, guaranteed, you can always survive a traumatic event, right? no matter how good you are. So you could be Mr. Tactical Ninja, and if you're walking down the street and a concrete block boulder falls from a building and it hits you in the head and kills you, doesn't really matter how much. Yeah, exactly. So, but in that, on the other side of that, as a female, right, you would be considered weaker, smaller, more vulnerable, right? Just like someone that is older, elderly person, right? If you're a female and you weigh 120 pounds and you don't know any kind of self-defense, you don't have to carry a gun, you don't have anything to defend yourself, and you're oblivious to the world on your phone 24/7, you are a victim.
Talk about situational awareness, because I took your course, your self-defense or what was it called?
Armed confrontation.
Armed confrontation course. And one thing that you really, really taught us well was situational awareness. So could you speak a little bit to that, why that's important, and maybe like a tip or two that you have for women when they're out there and just raising their situational awareness?
So situational awareness is probably number 2, I would say, that is a necessity, right? Number 1 would be mindset. Number 2, we could talk about that later. But number 2 would be the situational awareness, right? If you don't put yourself in a situation that something bad can happen, then it takes away the danger, right? You have to always look at the worst case scenario when you're by yourself, anywhere that you're going. How you avoid some of those things? Well, don't go to places where you think something might happen, obviously. It's number 1. Number 2, don't put yourself in a predicament that you know is not going to be good for you. Meaning, like, if you're walking and you see 4 guys that don't look like they're up to any good and you walk past them, that's not going to be a good situation, right?
Right. Like turn around.
Go somewhere else. Go whatever, So that's what situationally aware is really, where you're always putting yourself in a position that you're going to have the upper hand in any situation. And people say like tactical. Well, tactical is just being efficient, period, in any situation, right? So it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't mean that you have to have a gun in your hand. Right. It's just being tactically inclined. Meaning, if you go into a restaurant, you always have your back to the wall. You always look at all the exits. You always look at all these different concepts, of what could possibly happen here. Some people will say you're a fanatic, and it's not really being a fanatic. It's just being situationally aware.
Right. I think some people who haven't done this type of training, they think that we walk around with like anxiety or something. Yeah. And for me, there's like no anxiety in it. It's more so just like, okay, like I know it's going to happen. If we're at a restaurant, I know where I'm exiting if something were to go down. 100%.
Well, it becomes a lifestyle. And then after a while, it's like driving. It's like breathing. Yeah. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just another function of your life. It's not being oblivious to everything that's going on around you.
Right.
Like having your head on the phone.
Or like
24/7.
The gas station videos that I've seen recently.
100%, yeah.
Like people are pumping their gas, looking at their phone, not looking to see who's around.
And the guy comes around and puts a gun to the head and then carjacks him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Little things like that. And then, most people say, oh, but Tony, what would you do in a situation like that? You know what I mean? You can't compare me.
Right.
You know what I mean? To like 99% of the population. You know what I'm saying? I probably saw that guy before he woke up in the morning. And got to that gas station, you feel me?
I saw the guy before he woke up in the morning.
Yeah, like I'm the guy that's the paranoid, fanatic type of guy. I've already thought about every single situation. Like I will drive my car into a gas station depending on where the pump is depending where I'm gonna stand, which way my car is gonna be facing. But I don't do it on purpose.
Yeah. I don't do it on purpose.
I don't. It's just that's
like
the way.
Nature.
It's like second nature to me. It's different because I was a cop for most of my life, and then I was in Marines before that. And then, if not, I was born in like some of the worst neighborhoods in Miami. So you had to be that way.
Yeah.
Or if not, you were going to become a victim.
100%.
Right. So as a female, definitely putting gas is you're very vulnerable. Don't leave your purse in the car. Lock your car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Little things like that because. We had crews in Miami that all they did were just wait for a woman to pump gas, leaves the car and leaves her purse in the car and leaves the car open. And they just come right to the car, open the door, grab the purse, close the door and just go. You know what I mean? Same exact thing. They'll have a guy where the lady is pumping gas. The guy talks to them. right? The car stays on, or the keys are in the car, and while they're talking, the guy jumps in the car and just takes off.
Damn.
You know, they're like, what? And then the other guy, what does he do? He goes into another car and he just takes off too. He just walks away.
Damn.
And you just lost your car. You know what I'm saying?
And that's like best case scenario, right? Where they don't harm you.
100%. They take something, you know, they take it. But what you try to do is you try to put yourself in a situation where they can't, where it's going to be a deterrence, right? They're going to have to work to get your stuff, right? So who do they pick? They pick the people that make themselves a target. If you don't make yourself a target, they're going to go to someone else that is a target.
Because there's a lot of easy targets out there.
100%.
Yeah.
So if they see that you're like, you have the gas thing on, right? You put the little clip on there, and then you're standing around the car and you're just looking at all the cars that are going or whatever it may be. Or even if you're pumping the gas manually and you're looking, oh, you look at this car, you'll be surprised how people act when you look at them dead in their face and kind of like saying, I see you. I see you. They're going to be like, well, I'm very far from that person right now, and the person is looking at me. Can they get into their car and get a gun? Can they do this? Can they do that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's going to be the key. They rather go up to somebody that's with their head down, not looking around, eating crap. You know what I'm saying? They rather pick those targets. And that's just a gas station.
Yeah.
You know, forget about walking to your car after a grocery store in the parking lot as a female at 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. What should people do or not do?
In that situation, always look at the car surrounding, right? So as you walk, remember that video that we had in my gym where the guy was breaking into my car?
Yes.
Are you sure that video?
Yes.
Right? So if you get in the habit of just looking inside of cars that are parked while you're walking to your car, that's going to deter a lot of stuff, because most of those people will be sitting in their car and watching you as you're walking to your car. And they're waiting for you to be fumbling with your keys, to be looking at your phone. So that way, right when you get to your car, they're on top of you and you don't even see them coming. You know, if you're walking and the person's sitting in the car and you look straight into the car, you know what I'm saying? Then you're like, okay, I see you. And then as you're walking, you turn your head again. The guy gets out of the car. Now you're looking at the car, putting the keys in your hand already. You know, you're aware of what's happening. And now we're talking about, 20 feet, 30 feet, maybe 50 feet away. You have a chance to even run away, get on the phone, do something, right? Or rush and get your keys get into the car before they can get to you. Problem is you have you're on the phone or you're fumbling with your keys looking down, and the guy puts a gun to the back of your head. It's done. It's over. It's too late already.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you do carry a gun, you know, and you're a female and you're walking late, it's okay. Put the gun in your purse. And what you do is you have your right hand on the gun, and you put your hand inside the purse in the gun. You don't have the gun out, but you can put your hand, and then, you know, get your keys. If you have a key and it's a push button, I mean, nowadays you don't even need anything. You just open the door and the car opens. You know, but back in the day, you need like to physically open the car. You put your keys in your left hand, right hand on the gun, and you're just walking normally, boom, 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 and paying attention to what's happening around you. Yeah, and you'll be, you know, 99.9% of the time you're gonna be good. Yeah. And if the guy, let's say someone does come to you to do something to you late at night or whatever, your hands are already on your gun, and they don't know that your hand's on the gun. You know what I'm saying? And the best thing you have is element of surprise. You know, if the guy does go to attack you or whatever, it's just lifting up. You don't even take the gun out of the purse. You put it around right through the purse. It ain't gonna do nothing.
Oh, damn.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Yeah. You know, so it's one of those things where, should you train in this? Yeah, you could. But if you don't, instincts will kick in. And if you're situation aware, you're gonna be ready for it. And being ready for it is probably half the battle.
So yeah, I was going to go there next, the mindset portion of this, right? Because people don't know how they're going to respond in a very stressful situation until they're put into stressful situations.
Correct.
One thing that I liked about your course is at the end of the last day, we went through this massive round where it's like we're going through training and boxing and fighting and the gauntlet. Yeah. And it was just one thing after another to where you're like broken down physically and mentally. I remember there was one station where it was like the jiu-jitsu station with Ruben, and you know, he starts on full mount and then he starts like kind of just going at you, right? Yeah. And at that point I'd done no jiu-jitsu at all, right? I'm not gonna lie, it mentally freaked me out a little bit. I was not like really ready or prepared for that. Like that was something that kind of it surprised me that it shook me the way that it did.
Yeah.
And I got up afterwards and I was like pretending to be okay. But in my head, I was like, I was a little freaked out, to be honest.
I was not okay.
Yeah. I played that off real well, but I was not really that good, you know, and they opened up my eyes. I was like, damn, like
it exposed your weakness that you had.
It did, yeah. And now you should see me. No, I'm kidding. I have been practicing, but my point for bringing that up is how can people start to work on their mindset when it comes to their response to stress, and how important is mindset when it comes to all of that?
Okay, so mindset, other people say it was like, oh, you know, you have to have, you know, the fighting mindset or survival mindset or whatever it may be. It's very hard to teach mindset. You can't teach mindset. Okay, mindset, you can only expose someone to mindset, right? So meaning I can only expose you to an event or traumatic event or an exhausting event or something that you brings out the fear, heightens your awareness and all these different things. And then you are naturally going to see how you're going to act because you won't know until it happens. Okay. Your upbringing has a lot to do with that, right? The mentality of where you were brought up. Were you brought up in a great, nice neighborhood, or were you brought up in a bad neighborhood? Did you have to fight when you were a kid? Did you have brothers and sisters when you were a kid? Because if you had, let's say if you were a girl and you had two older brothers and used to beat the crap out of you when you were growing up, but you're going to learn to fight back. Yeah. Either that or, you know what I'm saying?
I remember when Brent was like, I respected you the second I saw you get punched in the face. And I was like, I could probably thank my brothers for that.
100%. But those little things are that's the difference. Yeah. That's the difference between you freezing or fighting back.
100%.
Why? Because you didn't have a choice as a kid, right? Yeah. You had to fight back, you know? So what if you were a lonely kid and you didn't have that? You've never been tested. So the only way that you can really teach someone mindset is exposing them to it and pushing them to a point where it breaks them down mentally, physically, emotionally, and then see what happens. Whether they're going to continue to fight forward, or whether they're going to quit, or they're going to become a victim at that point.
Wow.
Right? So my courses, they do that. A lot of people teach just tactical training. I don't teach tactical training. I teach betterment training. So I will expose you to the weaknesses that you have. I will show you your weaknesses, and it's going to be up to you whether or not you decide whether you're going to fight back or you are going to break, right? And I've had both in my courses over the years of teaching. I've had people leave during lunchtime and never come back. I've had people be there the first day and never come back to the second day. You know, and I've had people just outright say, I can't do this anymore. And I quit. You know,
or some of them quit during the
100%.
The testing period.
They say I quit. Yeah, like that's it. I'm done. I'm out. You know, so if you're gonna sit there and quit during one of my courses, then you have no business carrying a gun. Unfortunately,
yeah.
Because at that point, if you're carrying a gun and you quit during a fight, then you're a liability. Because if you have to fight for your gun and you just quit, the guy's going to shoot you and kill you anyways. And now he has your gun and possibly shoot other people.
Right.
And that's the problem. You have to show me that you're going to fight until you have nothing left inside of you. That's it. That's all I ask in my courses. I only ask one thing. And I say, if you're coming to my class, there's only one rule. You can't quit. If you quit, you don't get a cert. You just leave. You get in your car and leave.
Yep.
I don't care about your shooting. Obviously, I'm trying to make you a better shooter. You know what I mean? I'm going to teach you all the fundamentals of shooting. I'm going to teach you all the fundamentals of fighting and all these different things. I'm going to give you all these elements and all these tools for you, right? But at the end of the day, all those tools are garbage if you don't have the proper mind. If your mind is a victim mentality, then it's just going to, all those things are worthless. Because the moment that you get into that confrontation, you already have that victim mindset. You already lost. You know, and the truth is like the only way that you build that mindset is by training and getting confidence.
And that's what your course did for me. Like you said, it exposed a weakness, a weak area of me. And I was like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
You know, and from that moment, like I went and I started training and equipping myself. And, you know, there's been a lot, I feel like, that going into MMA and jiu-jitsu has taught me. One thing that doing jiu-jitsu and MMA has taught me that I really didn't expect is how to be on top of my recovery, simply because you have no other choice. When you are doing combat type of sports and athletics, you have no choice but to be on top of your recovery, or else you're simply not going to recover, which means you're not going to be able to retrain. One of the number one things that has been helping me in my recovery is Cured's hemp-infused extra strength CBD. So this is a roll-on CBD hemp-infused balm, and it's really convenient because it's just a roll-on. You don't have to use any lotion to get your hands slimy or messy, and it's something you can apply anywhere. So you simply apply it to anything that is hurt, that you're having aches or pains with, and it really helps to soothe your sore joints, help your body to recover faster, and it's something that provides that immediate relief. So if you're extra sore from your training, any sort of training, and you wake up and you feel stiff, you feel like your neck is tight, your lower back is tight, simply apply this. You will get that instant relief, and then you can continue with some of your recovery processes. Things I would do following this would be a little bit of cardio to get some blood flowing, and then I would move into some active stretching, some active type of movements, and then some foam rolling, followed by some static stretching. If you guys will do this as a part of your recovery routine, it will really help you to get those muscles back into the best shape possible so that you can go back to your training. So if you guys deal with aches and pains, if you deal with those sore muscles and you want extra relief to have more motivation to do your recovery program, then definitely check out Cured Nutrition's hemp-infused extra strength CBD roll-on. This is something that you guys can get for a discount right now. You just go to www.curednutrition.com/Emily Hayden. That's CURED nutrition.com/Emily Hayden to save 20%. And at regular price, it is $39.99. So it's pretty cheap for a very high quality product that is going to get you instant relief. And they do have a satisfaction guarantee on this product. So I really encourage you guys to try it out. It is something that you will thank me for later. All right, let's get back to today's episode. Man, I've learned so much just from being in pressure situations, stressful situations where you have to learn to control your breathing, to be calm, to be strategic, to think your way through it.
Absolutely.
What do you think is the best form of MMA for women to get into if they're looking for self-defense?
Definitely jiu-jitsu is very important because it's going to teach you positioning, right? And with a female, if you get a guy that doesn't know any jiu-jitsu, doesn't know how to fight, it's just he's an angry individual trying to hurt you and try to overpower you, you're going to have a good advantage over him understanding what he can and can't do to you, right? Because you're going to be doing jiu-jitsu with a lot of males, a lot of heavier guys, stronger dudes. So you're going to learn to rely on your speed. You're going to learn to rely on positioning and getting into the right position where you can survive. The guy, don't let the guy get into the mount.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't let the guy get on top of you where you can try to, outmaneuver him, right? I'm a firm believer in Muay Thai, obviously, because you have to learn how to strike.
Yeah.
And you got to learn how to defend yourself with punching, and you got to learn how to low kick and kneeing and all those different type of things, because that's going to help you too. Because it may not start on the ground, right? The basics, basic grappling is important. The guy goes to grab you by your throat or whatever. You got to know what you need to do to get out of those those overpowering positions that a male is always going to do, because a male is stronger. He was always going to want to dominate you and show you that he's more powerful than you, right? And so as a female who's weighs less, isn't as strong, you have to rely on your speed and your skill. And speed and skill kills.
Yeah.
Right? Something that I'm a firm believer that every woman should carry is a knife, right? Because the knife and...
Like this one right here?
Like that one right there?
Little segue. Show us this one. Show the camera.
So this is my recent blade that I just came out with. It sold out. It came out during the NRA show.
It's already sold out?
It's sold out in the shows. It did win 2022 Blade of the Year for Most Innovative Imported Design.
Congrats.
Yeah.
That's huge.
In the Blade show, and the biggest show in the country. Actually, in the world, actually.
That's so sick.
It is a double-edged blade. It is the only blade on the market that goes into two positions as a fixed blade, right? So it could either go into a straight position or a karambit position. It locks in place on both of them.
Oh, I didn't realize it locked in place there too.
Yeah.
That's
so
sick.
it locks in blades in there, and then it locks in places straight, right? So you can pretty much wear it however you want to wear it. With the ulti clip, you have the belt attachment, but it comes with it. You can get an ulti clip, and you can wear it pretty much on your in your pocket. So you can go with your pocket as well, This blade took me about a year and a half to design.
Damn.
The whole point of this blade is a self-defense blade, right? So if you do carry a knife, you kind of want a blade that everything you do with it is either going to cut or stab, right? So this blade, every motion, whether backwards, forwards, circular, whatever it is, behind you and forward, in front of you, it will cut you, right? And it also has, so as you can see here, it's in a karambit position where it's kind of like a hooking, but at the same time, it's still a straight blade in the karambit position, so you can still stab with it. So you can stab with it in the karambit, or you can stab with it in the straight, right? Most karambits, like you'll see another karambit. I have a karambit here. So this is another karambit. This is what a karambit is, as you can see on the video.
Oh, wow.
That, so this is a hooking blade.
Okay.
As you can see here, right? So but you can't stab with it.
So you have to hook with it.
Yes, you have to hook with it.
Gotcha.
So everything you do is a hooking. You really can't, like that one you can still stab. This one is not, right?
Yeah.
But the difference here is this is a folder, meaning it's folded when it's in your pocket. Okay. Mine is not. Mine is a fixed blade. The only issue with a folder, okay, is that you have to be kind of proficient with it and knowing how to deploy it when it comes out of your pocket. If you make a mistake and you go to deploy it, the deployment is a little buck. You see this little notch right there?
Yeah.
When you pull it out, it hits right here, and then it just opens up automatically when you pull it out.
Okay.
But if you're not good at doing that, there's still a 20 or 30% chance that if you ever really need it, self-defense for your life, it may not deploy.
Oh, gotcha.
So you'll be out like this, and you're fucked.
God, yeah.
Right? That won't ever happen with this one.
Okay.
When this comes out,
it's just ready to go.
It's ready to go. So that's the thing about a fixed blade. You kind of want it like that. You want a fixed blade as a self-defense, for your life type blade.
And here's the thing. I feel like as a female, you take this thing out, someone's in front of you, they are not going to come after you.
No.
Right? The chances of someone wanting to take this head on.
It's not going to be fun. I mean, because even if, this is the thing about a knife, right? What's great about a knife, we call it the gift that keeps on giving. It doesn't run out of bullets.
Oh my gosh.
Right? It's true.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. So what happens is like, in any self-defense situation with a knife, most of the time, a guy is always going to be the aggressor, right? Let's say he is the aggressor. He's the one that's going to come to you. He's going to grab you by the throat, going to grab you. He feels like he's stronger than you. So having a blade on you, it's almost perfect because the moment that he grabs you, he throws you to the ground or he does something to you. If you know how to use that blade, even if you don't know how to use it,
right? And
it comes out of that pocket and it's like this, and you stab the guy I don't care where you stab him. It's gonna, with a knife like this, he's gonna be in a world of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just because you stab him in the stomach or the ribs or whatever it may be. And I can guarantee you that if you do it violently and aggressive enough, if he goes to grab the blade, you're gonna stab him in his hands, in his arms, and he's gonna whatever. Yeah. It's gonna be very hard to fight you.
Yeah, at your course, we did a very small segment on some knife, fighting and stuff. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, we had done a lot of shooting the day before, and that was cool. I was cool with all that. But then you whip out this, it was even a fake knife. You whip out this fake knife and come at you with a knife. That was terrifying.
Yes.
Like I never realized how terrifying knives were until that moment. And then I was like, oh, I never want to be around a knife.
No, the worst thing you ever want to do is get into like a knife fight or even fight somebody with a knife, even if they don't know what they're doing. Because it's very bad.
It's bad quick.
Yes, it really does. And if they don't know what they're doing, they're going to stab you in, let's say their stomach or arm or whatever they may be. And it's not like the movies where you just die on it like that. You're going to suffer. Like it's going to be painful and you're going to be bleeding internally. And, it's just going to be a lot of things. Now, the guy catches you in the throat or he calls you in a major artery, then it'll be a couple of maybe like 15, 20 seconds before you bleed out. But it's bad. It's not pretty. It's a hardcore death. And then, you'll see like, even on videos nowadays, you see knife fights where two guys have a knife and one guy hits the other guy in the hand. And his freaking hand is dangling, from the blade because it's a bigger blade or whatever it is, It's just it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It's not a toy. By no means it's not a toy. Why I like females, because it's hidden. Right? And you don't have to, for example, if you have a gun, which you should be carrying both, but if you don't, let's say you don't have the money for a gun or you don't have a concealed carry permit where you are, whatever it may be, at least with a knife, you still have a better chance at surviving. And it's a bigger, stronger male.
Yeah, okay? So
true. You pull a gun out on a guy and he grabs the gun and now you're fighting for that gun. You see, he can't grab a knife. because you're going to cut him. You're going to cut his hand wide open. So the moment that he goes to grab that knife and you just go, he just slit his hand open. So every time he goes to grab you, as long as you're faster than he is and you're just moving quicker, it's going to be very hard to fight you.
I never thought about that. I thought about it like that.
And if you take maybe like 1 or 2 classes on knife fighting and you just at home practice a little bit on your own, then there's no chance for survival on the other end at all.
Wow.
Yeah, because by the time that he realizes what's going on, you would have already stabbed him 10 or 15 times and probably slit his throat.
Okay, so where can my girls grab this knife that I got?
So that's on cvv.com. It's $115. Code, I have a code RWT15 for 15% off.
What was the code?
RWT, like Real World Tactical
RWT
15. Yeah, for 15% off. If you don't get my knife, listen, guys, this is not a push for my knife or whatever. Just carry a knife. You know what I mean? Even if it's a folder, it's something. At least, it's always something that you can hold in your hand when you're going by yourself. Something you have in your pocket, your purse, whatever. It doesn't have to be a big knife. I know in most states, anything under 4 inches is good to go. Okay. Even if say if you have under a 4-inch blade, meaning something that's smaller than 4 inches, and you cut somebody's throat, stab them in the throat, or a lung, kidney, any of those major things, or you cut the inside of their arm, it will pretty much end the fight.
Do you remember when I texted you when I was on vacation and I was like, hey, do you think this box cutter will work as a form of
and I sent you
protection?
The picture? Yeah. And I sent you that picture?
He sent me this photo. We don't have to get into it, but he was like, yes, box cutters work.
Yes, they do. They will slice you wide open and really bad.
In case you guys didn't hear that story, I basically went to an island by myself and I got there and I realized that the surrounding area around my resort and hotel was not an area that I wanted to be unarmed and alone in, especially at night. So I went to Office Depot because it was like the only thing on the island. And I asked for fishing supplies because that's the best I could come up with. Yeah. And they were like, we have a box cutter. And I was like, yep, I've got a lot of boxes to cut. And I just kept that in my purse. It was, you can always find some form of protection.
Always. And if you can't find that, a screwdriver.
Oh, yeah.
A star screwdriver, you know what I mean? Or even a flathead, I don't care. At the end of the day, if you, even a woman with enough anger and enough defense, like you're just panicking, you stab the guy in the throat or in the inside, in the armpit or in the rib or in the lung, you know what I mean? He's going to feel it. Big screwdriver like that, it's going to go and it's going to puncture something, you know what I'm saying? So some weapon is better than no weapon.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because when it's your hands and you're 115 pounds soaking wet and you're 5'2" and a guy who's 6 feet, 220 pounds or 185 pounds, and you're going to have a hard time if he punches you in the face or he grabs you or something, Yeah. Unless you're like an avid fighter, professional fighter or someone who knows jiu-jitsu or grappling or something, you're just going to struggle. It's going to be a hard one. And it's like the old saying, I was a police officer. You can't rely on police officers. Because by the time that they get there, you're either already raped or you're beaten or you're whatever. It's too late. Yeah. 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And most of the time, it will even take longer because if the guy robs you or something, he's going to take your cell phone. And they take your cell phone, then you have to find a phone to call the police. And you know what I'm saying? The cops are something for reaction more, than for something that needs to be right then and there.
Yeah.
So
I think moral of the story, guys, don't rely on anyone else. Not your boyfriend, because he's not always going to be there.
Correct.
Not your brother, not your dad, not anyone else, because they're not always with you. You have to equip yourself. So whether that's like,
one thing I do want to bring up, the pepper spray. So a lot of people are like, oh, what do you think about pepper spray? What about the pepper spray?
Yeah.
Pepper spray is good. It's not bad, okay? I've seen a lot of people drink the pepper spray.
Shut up.
It. Like it wasn't even there.
Were they Cuban?
There's guys that they'll take it,
Wow.
Let's say you don't hit them in the eyes. Now they can still see. And then this is the bad thing about pepper spray too. When you deploy it, you're going to be exposed to it.
Oh, wow.
So now you have that stuff in your eyes. Now you can't see. So that's the biggest issue with pepper spray, right? So what about tasers, like stun guns, okay? A stun gun that you can buy over the counter is garbage. It's only going to make a really upset person more upset. Okay. You want something that is going to do damage effectively, physical damage, right? Not mental or emotional, right? A knife will do physical damage. It doesn't matter if you're on PCP cocaine, doesn't matter what drug you're on. If you cut the guy's tendons and his ligaments on the inside of his arm, he can't use his hand. He can't grab you. If you cut his artery, doesn't matter how much PCP you have, he's going to bleed out, right? It's just like a gun. You can shoot the guy if you shoot him in the right place, in his heart, or you shoot him in his lung, or you shoot him in his face, right? It doesn't matter how much cocaine or how much PCP he's on, he's going to die, right? Now, if you obviously shoot the guy in his stomach or whatever, a whole bunch, you can maybe possibly, or his chest, where it's not hitting his heart, and yeah, he could probably take 7 or 8 rounds, maybe 10 rounds to keep coming.
7 or 8?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you just say 7 or 8 rounds?
Absolutely.
Damn.
If they're on PCP or they're on coke or cocaine psychosis or they're going through excited delirium, absolutely. Yeah, it's not like the movies.
Wow.
You know, you have to hit them. You know, I try to say hip, try to hit him in the hip, because once his hip is broken, then he can't walk. He goes down to the ground. In his vertebrae, in his lung, you know, obviously his heart, you know, anything like that will, no matter whether or not they're on any drugs, it will stop them. It will make them stop what they're doing, which is aggressively attacking you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if their lung is shot, they can't breathe. If they can't breathe physically, they're going to have a hard time moving, and because their blood is rushing, you know what I mean? And now their lung is going to start filling with blood. So they're going to start coughing up blood. You know what I'm saying? If you hit, obviously, their vertebrae, they get paralyzed. Their hip, once their hip takes a round, they won't be able to walk on one of the legs. It's just gonna be done, right? And then he goes to the floor and he can't run after you, right?
You know, you talk about all of this so nonchalantly because it's what you're in, right? You've been in this for years. You were a cop for 15 years. Like, it's just like going downstairs to my gym for me. It's like so real to you.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a big disconnect between a lot of people that are out there in the world that maybe didn't grow up in a rough area. Maybe they grew up in a good area, right? And they feel very disconnected from this message, as if like that would literally never happen to me.
Yeah.
But I think
they live in their bubble.
Yeah, they live in their bubble. But I think, you know, the important takeaway here is that 1, it can happen to literally anyone. And 2, I think you're listening to this message for a reason. And 3, I think there's been no better time in the world to start to equip yourself to be able to protect yourself and the people around you.
100%.
So a course like the one that you offer is a really safe environment to go and get exposure to this and to find out where are my weaknesses, you know, and then from there you can go home and choose what you want to focus on, what you want to start incorporating into your life. You have another course coming up that I'm going to be doing in November 11th and 12th.
12th and 13th.
12th and 13th. Okay. In
Saturday
Miami.
and Sunday.
Yeah. So I wanted to mention that if any of my listeners want to come and do the course with me, just shoot me a DM and give me your email address. Let me know, hey, I want to do the course with you. And then I'll get in contact with Tony and we'll try to snag a spot or two, because I know you fill up pretty quickly. Yeah.
There's a list already. There's a waiting list. But I mean, if someone from your group that listens to this or whatever, they want to go, we'll make a spot for them.
Cool. Yeah. Because
it's a vehicle, just so you guys know, it's a vehicle dynamics course. It's not a I don't want to say it's an advanced course. It's a beginner's course, but it just teaches you on how to shoot around the car, how to shoot from inside of a car, fighting around the car, what to do, what not to do, how to deal with your firearm inside of a car. All these different little things like that, you know what I mean?
Which I feel like is very applicable, right?
100%.
Because it's always at the gas station, in the parking lot, at home when you're getting inside.
So many things happen, and most of the stuff is around your car or someone else's car or in a parking lot, or you know what I mean? It's just like, you have to know as when you do these courses, what it is all it is just knowledge, right? You understand the dynamics of the car. Like, if you shoot through here, is it going to go through there? If you shoot through there, like, what can I use as cover? Where can I hide? What is, all these little things are something that some of those little tidbits, you will never forget them. So whenever you're around your car, you see the car and you're always going to remember it back in the class. Oh, I remember when Tony said this, or I remember when Tony. So those things kind of go with you. They tag along for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it could, and it has in the past made a difference in my students. They call me or they DM me or they, man, your class just saved my life. This happened to me the other day. You know what I'm saying? Things like that happen. And it's true. A lot of people do live in a bubble. They live in a bubble. Nothing's ever happened to them until it happens.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people that it does happen to them, they become like you, right? Where it's like, man, this happened to me the other day. I need to start going.
Yeah.
You know, the good thing is that you're aware. You know what I mean? Because you know, you have people like me busting down on your door and being like, yo, get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, all right, I'm not gonna let it happen to me.
Yeah.
Plus both of us have our personal experiences, you know. So it's one of those things where it's better to go and never ever ever need it than the day you do need it and not go.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's a necessity in today's world in the United States. I really do, especially with all the things that are going on now.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I want to end here on a few people that have just been influential in your life. There's a few friends of yours that you've had for a very long time that you've made posts about. The first one being Andy Frisella, and how you've really valued that friendship, and how he is somebody who, with tough love, has really exposed the reality of the world to others, helping people to believe in themselves and take control over their lives again. So can you just kind of explain a little bit, or touch on a little bit, how he and the way that he's led and his, you know, experience or his friendship in your life has shaped your experience of the world, how you see others, how you lead? How has that impacted you?
Andy's a prime example of making the impossible possible. Right? Everything's impossible until some crazy motherfucker makes it possible.
That's true.
And that is exactly the epitome of what Andy is. So, you know, seeing him struggle through all his struggles and go through what he went through and then build the empire that he has, you know, it makes you believe that anybody can do it, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, Andy hasn't changed who he is.
Yeah.
He's never changed. I see in a lot of people that change. The money changes them. And the money's never changed Andy. And I don't think it ever will. You know, and Andy just, there's no fucks given when it comes to Andy.
Yeah.
He will tell you what he feels. He was blunt about it, you know, and then he, you know, and he doesn't sugarcoat things. And I'm a very blunt person too. I don't think I'm as outspoken as Andy is. It's what he does. He's a speaker and all these different things. But a lot of his philosophies and a lot of what he believes in, I have the same philosophies, the same mentality as well. And he believes in tough love, right? It's just not sugarcoating stuff. And I'm the same exact way.
Yeah, can attest.
Yeah, you know, and I'm going to tell you whether you like it or you don't. And that's the bottom line, but I'm telling you facts.
Yeah.
And he does the same exact thing. You may not agree with everything he says. You may not like what he says, but the truth is what he's saying is truth.
Yeah.
You know, and once you understand that, you understand where he's coming from. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably the most influence he's had on me is on those factors, you know, to kind of concur how I am, how he is, and then being able to see what he's accomplished.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you can accomplish, you know, 10% of what he's accomplished, you know, you're doing pretty damn good, you know?
I agree. And I think one way he's really impacted me is being truly unapologetically himself. Like, since day one, he has been unapologetic about who he is, right? That outspoken, that blunt, that straightforward,
100%.
Even when people don't like it. And one thing he told me that really impacted me was, you can either not be yourself and try to appease everybody and nobody's going to love you. No one might hate you either. Or you can be yourself and be fully yourself. And those people that like kind of liked you, now they're actually going to love you. Now they're really going to support you. And yeah, you're going to have some haters too, but it's going to be a lot more people that actually love you because they're actually getting to see you. And if they don't ever really see, if they don't ever really see you, how can they ever really know that they even align with you?
100%. 100%.
Talking about being fully yourself, you had this Instagram post that I had to read because it was so good. I feel like people need to hear it. It says, after you get to a certain age, you stop caring about the petty nonsense. You realize what gets your bills paid, who's in your life for the right reasons, who's not worth your time, and you become grateful. You start looking at life a little differently, and you stop giving a fuck and choose your effort and time wisely. And I'm just curious, what age is this? I'm trying to get there. You know what I mean?
You got a little bit to go.
Like I want to be there, but if I'm being fully honest, I know I still have a little ways to go with that.
You know what? I just, that post came from like dealing with a lot of nonsense. Like I used to care a lot about it. Right. You know, you have a lot of haters over the years. You know, I had people that have threatened my life, you know, and I've had all kinds of stuff. So it's like, in the beginning, if you're emotionally tied to your brand and who you are, it does bother you.
Yeah,
it does really bother you. And then you go through a phase of where you see who your real friends are. Friends that either try to fuck you or friends that try to steal from you or they're just different things, right? And then you lose friends over the years because of that, right? So it's one of those things where it takes the experience and it takes the time for you to realize like what's important and what's not in life, right? In general life. And that post when I wrote it, it was like I was sitting back and I was just like, what's important to me right now? What's important to me as a grown ass man, right? And and what I believe in, what I stand in, all these different things, and who is truly the people that are close to me and that I trust. So you really have to make choices sometimes in life where they're gonna suck, right? And those choices are for the betterment of you.
Yeah.
And it may not align with everyone that is around you. You know what I'm saying? And when people are just yapping away, you kind of have to be just like, you don't pay my bills, brother.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true. I think we give too much weight to what people are saying around us or their opinions of us or their beliefs about what we're doing or not doing. Yeah. At the end of the day, we only get one life and it's our life to live. And we got to choose what's best for us, even 100%. When people don't understand.
That's it. And the truth is like, if you're the way that we are, ambitious, goal-oriented, you're always hustling. You're always, you're fighting on the next thing or whatever. People will not understand you.
Yeah.
One of the things that I would always get when I was doing all my training, why are you doing that for? What's the point of that? Your back's gonna be broken. Your knees are gonna be shit. You're this and that, and then all these excuses and all these different things. And recently, there was this. There's this show that I'm watching. It's called Peaky Blinders.
Oh, yeah. It's so dope. I've only seen a few episodes.
What? So good.
It's so gangster. I'm like,
it is great. And the guy, the main actor, he does a phenomenal job. And Tom Hardy, he does a great job too. He's great. So there's this scene. I don't how many.
No, literally like a few episodes.
Okay,
like
so
3 or something.
There's this one scene that's like a meme, right? And I'm gonna play it here on the podcast so you hear it.
Oh, you have it?
I have it. Yeah. No, because I did a post on it.
Is this a new show that you just recently started watching?
I'm like 5 seasons in now.
Stop. 5 seasons?
I'm 5 seasons in.
Was this before or after Stranger Things?
After.
Okay.
After.
Oh my god.
After. No, I'm a binger. I binge watch this shit. Yeah. I binge watch it. So here I'm gonna play it here so you guys can hear it.
Okay. And I'll put the video on the YouTube video. Oh yes.
All right. Let me play it one more time. You can hear it good.
Why? Because we fucking can. Because we fucking
can. And we do.
And
that's so gangster.
So on that video, I was leg pressing like 30 something plates in that video. If you see it there, I'm sure whatever.
Yeah.
And the truth is that when I used to do the things that I did, it was to push myself beyond, what I thought my body was physically capable of doing. Wow. Right? I wanted to reach that next level. And the adrenaline dump that I used to get as a cop, I was never able to reach it once I retired. Wow. And so it was always looking for that next rush, looking for that next thing to keep me alive, to keep me there. And doing that type of stuff kept me going. It kept me and
it's also what like blew you up on social.
100%. Yeah. It was during that era,
Yeah.
But it's exactly what he said. She's like, but why? It was like, because we can. It was like, why? Because we can. If we can, we do. The bottom line is, if you can do something,
do it.
Fucking do it. Yeah. Don't worry about what anybody else. If you want to do it in your life, if you really want, that's your goal. I don't care if your goal is becoming the best violinist in the world or becoming a track or a star or becoming a multimillionaire, whatever it is, you're going to be obsessed with it. You're going to have to go 100 miles an hour with it. And the people around you will not understand. They will not. They will not understand you. They're not going to understand why you're doing it. They're going to ask you why you're doing it. And the truth is, if you can do it, then do it. If that's what makes you happy and that's what pushes you forward, why not? Yeah. Why not do it? That's the question right there, because you can. If you can do something, fucking just do it, right?
Yeah.
Why not do it? And if you get that in your brain and you kind of like silence out, and I learned this later on, you silence out the haters and all the people talking shit that are envious of you or want to be you, okay? You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. The issue is that a lot of people stop because of all the haters and because of all these people. And they're like, then they ask themselves, man, I don't want to do this because of this. I don't want to do this because these people are talking shit about me or whatever they may be. There's a clip of Cat Williams that I saw recently that I loved so much. And he talks about haters. And he's like, he tells his females, if you have 40 haters, you should be fucking trying to get 50. If you have 50, try to get 60. You know what I'm saying? And guys, the same exact thing. If you only have 20, you better be working to get 100 haters.
Wow.
And it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because you're doing something that other people can't do.
Yeah.
And they're hating on you because either they can't do it or they want to do it and they're not able to attain it. You know, why else I hate? Because the truth is, if you care about me, right? Like I care about you, you care about me. I'm always going to support what you want to do in life if it's something good, right?
Yeah.
If it's something to better yourself, meaning you're trying to be more successful, you're trying to learn a new trade. Obviously you're not going to support a drug habit or becoming a crackhead, right? But if it's something good, getting a new job or getting this, then I'm going to be like, yo, do it. Go for it. Why not? Why am I going to tell you not? Because you're afraid that you're not going to get it? No, take the risk. You know, everybody when I don't want to say quit my job, when I retired from police work, 99% of all the people that I knew told me I was crazy. They said, what are you doing? You still have a pension. You only got 4 more years to go. You know, you're crazy. You're throwing everything away. You're not going to make it. You're going to end up in a dumpster. All this stuff. Only my really close friends like some of the guys on the team with me and some of my close friends were the ones that were like, hey, bro, that's what's going to make you happy. Do it. I know you're going to be fine. You know what I'm saying? And it was literally the best thing I ever did in my entire life.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I make now, before 12 in the afternoon, what I used to make in an entire month, money-wise.
That's insane.
And what's funny is that I saw a pay stub maybe like a month ago of one of my checks of the last year that I was a police officer. I was
You found
like 15
an
years.
old pay stub?
An old pay stub. Yeah, it was like papers, like folders, you know, I was cleaning out some stuff.
That?
And I was just like, how did I even live on this?
Wow.
How did I live making that kind of money?
That's insane, man.
You don't. And the problem, you know what the thing is that you're able to live on that money because you don't know any better.
100%. You don't know that it's possible.
You don't know that it's possible. So you adapt yourself and your mentality and everything to live like that. And it's like an evolution. It's just like until someone shows you what your potential is, or you go out there and you're like, I'm tired of this. I'm ready to open the doors and just mind or whatever. Till you do it and you see it in front of you, you don't think it's possible.
Yeah.
Because I would have never in a million years thought it was possible to be able to literally wake up every morning whenever the hell I want, do whatever the hell I want, whenever the hell I want, go wherever and eat whatever I want and buy whatever I want. And live a happy life.
That's insane.
You know what I mean?
And I know that there's people listening right now who are where you were at and they actually have that potential inside of them
100%.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know what? I'm a true believer that every single person has a gift. Every single person is born with something, a gift of some kind. They don't know what it is, right? You're born not knowing what that gift is. Some people find it very early on. Maybe it's playing baseball. You're an athlete. Maybe it's playing the piano. Maybe it's whatever, right? You don't know unless you try things, right? You don't try something. Maybe it's art. It's whatever. But every single person has some kind of a gift in them. And I believe it, even if you're disabled. You know what I'm saying? Even a disabled person, right? Could possibly, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying when I say disabled, I mean functioning disabled, right?
Yeah.
That you're high functioning or whatever. But, you know, some autistic people are mathematicians. They're math geniuses.
They have like that one thing that they're like incredible at.
Yes, right? So every human is just like, you have a gift of something. You have to find what that gift is. And if you put enough effort, you may not be the smartest, because I was never the smartest. You may not be, the strongest or the fast, whatever. You may not be an athlete at all.
Yeah.
Maybe your athleticism is all in your brain. Maybe you're a very smart person for science or for math or whatever. And unless you try it and you learn to like it or whatever, you're never going to know. So it's just one of those things where you have to be like, man, what do I like to do and what am I good at? I'm good at this, or I like to do that. You know what? Let me try that. Let me get some actual formal training in this. And you may have a gift and you didn't even realize it. It's like I regret never playing an instrument. You know what I mean? Like my grandmother said, I have like really big hands. So my grandmother always told me, like, she's like, oh, you should have played piano, when you were younger, because you would have been a good, piano player. And I regret never, we didn't have money for me to go to piano classes, but I kind of regret never taking up an instrument,
wow.
Because I hear people play the piano. I'm like, man, I wish I could learn how to do that. You know what I'm saying? And, maybe you have a gift. Maybe I had a gift for that. I didn't even know. You know what I mean? So you just don't know until you try.
That's true.
And most people just don't ever try. They just don't. They're like, I'm never going to be good at that. Singing. It's another thing. There's people, that they're not great singers when they start and they get a vocal coach and boom, it's like a different person.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Just
That's
from a
cool.
little tweaking here and there, But unless they would have done that, they would have never known they were a good singer and they can become super famous. Look at what's the name? Her name. She was in that movie. She's a super Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
You know how many people told Lady Gaga that she was never gonna make it? That she was a terrible singer and that she was. She has a great story.
Insane.
Phenomenal story. Yeah,
Wow.
phenomenal. Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He got cut his
from
junior year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time ever, basketball player in the history of basketball.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where unless you have that drive, you'll never find it if you're not willing to at least put in the work or at least try. So I'm a firm believer in that. And the gift, that everybody has a gift and you have to find it. Find the gift,
I agree 100%. And it does. It takes that intentionality to go out and seek that out. And it doesn't always have to be like, okay, I work a full-time job. Now I'm going to go 100% in on my passion and switch. No, you can have your bread and butter. You can have the job that is paying all of your bills and allowing you the opportunity to go and try these things, And when you're able to make that switch eventually, if you want to, then do it. But
just putting in the time.
Yeah, put in the time.
I did the firearms training part-time for 2 years. Before I left.
Wow.
For 2 years. So whatever weekends I had available is when I would teach. So I would literally work, sometimes 60 hours a week.
Damn.
And then get off of on a SWAT op at 1 or 2 in the morning and then go and teach at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Damn.
I did it. I sacrificed those 2 years, built enough, clientele, built enough money and all that stuff to finally at the end say, you know what? It's time for me to go. I was burned out already, whatever personal issues and stuff, but I could do this. I could do this full time and I don't have to work for anybody else.
Yeah.
And if that is your goal and that's what someone wants to do is be their own boss. And that was always my goal, was to be my own boss, just to do what I wanted to do. I was the one who calls the shots. I mean, in reality, you're never your own boss because you're always a slave to something. You know what I mean? Or you're an employee to something, right?
Yeah.
You always have to answer to something. And if it's nothing else, you got to pay your taxes every year.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
Or they come for you.
Oh, hell yeah. Look what happened to Shakira. You heard about Shakira recently?
No.
Oh, man. They're saying she almost like $14 million.
No.
I swear to God. I saw it. on there was an article about it.
Oh, my gosh.
And then the lawyer fees now are like $24 million.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. She's going to trial with it. She says it's bullshit. But, I mean, you got to pay. Listen, you got to pay taxes.
Pay your taxes.
Pay your taxes. Feds will come for you. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're an actor, famous, whatever, you got to pay. There's no way out of that. But to be your own boss, at least, anyways, just if that's your goal, you're going to have to put in the time, right? You got to set out a plan. I know we all do. Set a plan, get your LLC, get your stuff running up and down, and don't just talk. Be a person of action. Don't just always yap your mouth,
And also don't overplan. I see a lot of people, and I've done this in myself as well, where you want to create the perfect plan, right? So you create all these action plans, but then it's like at a certain point, how much time are you spending planning versus doing?
100%.
Right? Like get into that daily action of every single day. I'm taking even a little bit of action on this thing versus planning and researching. And because 6 months will go by and you're like, damn, all I've done is create plans.
And I have done absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's all on paper here. It looks great on paper, but nothing has happened. Nothing has gone from paper to reality.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. A lot of people do that. A lot of people, and And I think what it is they're scared to go from this to that.
100%. So, okay, to end the podcast here, if there are people that are scared and they're lacking that self-confidence and self-belief, what is one thing that they could do to start building their self-confidence and belief in themselves so that they can one day make that jump?
Wow. So it's very hard to get that, that self-confidence and that belief, because it's going to be a leap no matter how it's going to be a risk. You know what I mean? And the truth is that if you don't believe in yourself, don't expect anybody else to believe in you.
Yeah.
You have to believe in yourself. And it's hard. Some people find it in motivation. Some people find it in this. I'm a firm believer that a lot of what lacks in a lot of people, and kind of that, like the secret gem, is not so much finding motivation. It's just having discipline.
Yeah.
You know
doing
what I mean?
What you said you were going to do. Yeah.
Having the discipline to say, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? And then do it. Even if you don't want to do it, even if you're scared of doing it, even if whatever it is, you're going to do it because you said you were going to do it. People always ask me, how do you stay motivated all the time? How do you stay motivated? I'm never motivated. I'm always lacking motivation.
I can agree. I see it.
I'm never motivated. And then, it's just, I'm always lacking motivation. But I can tell you one thing. I'm a disciplined motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm very disciplined.
That's
and
right.
if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it when I don't want to do it. If I'm said to myself, I'm going to do a diet, it's not going to be fun, but I'm going to do it. Right? If I start it, I'm going to finish it. If you start something in life, as much as you don't want to do it, you have to have the discipline to finish it. It has to be finished. Even if it's the stupidest little thing, you know what I mean? Finish it. Because when it's done, you're going to feel that much better. Don't leave things. I see a lot of people that start a ton of projects, right? And they don't finish any of them.
Wow.
They have their hand in 5 or 6 different things and nothing's finished. How about you start one, just finish one, and then work your way to the second one?
Yeah.
Start that one, finish that one, work your way to the third one. Why would you start 5 projects and not finish any projects? Because a lot of people do that. They start a lot of things, they don't finish them because they lack the discipline to finish. Things aren't always going to be how you want them to be, right? When I used to train, there wasn't a single day that I didn't wake up with pains.
Damn.
Not a single day. The type of training that I did, powerlifting, strength, strongman, and whatever, I was hurting almost every single day. But you know what? I got up every single day and I did 2 a days every single day, hating life, not wanting to do them, but I did them because I knew that I had to do them because I had to build my business to become successful. I knew that I had to do certain things to make sure that I got the content for my sponsors. I had to make sure there was all these different things that I had to be disciplined in my ways, and I had to build a schedule, a routine to make sure that everything at the end of the 5 years or whatever my 5-year plan was, it had to be done and it had to be finished. And once you realize that, I think once you realize, okay, it's not about motivation anymore. It's not about this. It's not about that. It's not about whatever. It's just doing it. I may not like it. I may hate it. I may not have the motivation to do it, but it's still got to get done. Then things going to be a little bit easier. Just like failure. When you realize that, you're going to fail.
True.
You say, I fail, and it's next to the next one.
True.
So that's it. I think that's one of the key components right there is having the discipline and understanding what discipline is,
I could not agree more. Well, Tony, it's been amazing having you on. Thank you so much for making time. I know you're busy this weekend with everything, so I appreciate it. The listeners appreciate it. If you guys want to check out Tony, all of his links are down below. If you guys want to check out the course, don't forget, you can just DM me, let me know that you want to do the course with me, and I will see if we can snag some spots for that. And without further ado,
thank you very much for having me.
Of course.
It's been a pleasure. I finally was able. Maybe I'll come back again next year.
Yeah.
Try to make this a yearly thing.
That would be dope.
And we see the progress for everybody. And it's been an honor, Em. You're a great friend, and I love you to death.
Thank you. Love you too. All right, guys, you know the drill. If you enjoyed it, please do us a favor. Share it on your stories. Tag a friend. Subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.